What if a DNA test you took for fun changed everything you thought about your identity and family? Welcome to the Brave and Curious podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Lora Shahine, and today we are exploring a deeply personal story that touches on family, self-discovery, and what it really means to belong. My guest today is Lisa Brenner, the creator and star of a new film, One Big Happy Family. Her movie is inspired by her own life. Discovering through a DNA test that the man that she grew up calling dad wasn't her biological father, learning that she had many half-siblings, and wrestling with the questions of identity, faith, and family along the way. Lisa is best known for her role as Anne Howard in the classic American Revolutionary War film, The Patriot. She's starred in many indie films, including Cesar Chavez, Finding Home, What Boys Want, Bad Samaritan, and The Remains. Lisa has also guest starred in numerous television shows, such as all three CSIs, Criminal Minds, and The Mentalist. Aside from acting, Lisa has produced multiple films, such as the romantic comedy Say My Name and the Roku original The Deal. She wrote, directed, and produced the award-winning comedy short The Good Guys and the Electric Now original Mary Leismas. The conversation with Lisa today isn't just about film. It's about what happens when the story you've always believed about yourself changes, and how joy, connection, and resilience can emerge from even the most unexpected discoveries. I really hope you enjoy this discussion as much as I did. Lisa, thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited about this conversation.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my gosh, just absolutely incredible to share your story and your journey like this. And can you take us back to the thinking about doing the DNA test and, the context and then what it was like to get those results back?
Well, I did the DNA test purely for the fun of it. I
Yeah.
had heard the radio ad for it, just saying how if you spit into this tube, you can track all of your ancestors for thousands of years. And I'm like, that is so cool. How is that possible?
Yeah.
So that's really the reason I did it. I did it with my husband purely for the fun of it. His results came out perfect, exactly how he was told, and mine did not. It
Yes.
said, yeah, only 50% of what I was told. The other 50% was what I was not told.
Yeah.
And it led me on this crazy journey
Yes.
that here we are today, that I made a
Amazing.
movie about it.
So share with
Yeah.
us what exactly that means. You were told and grew up, this way, and then the DNA
Mm-hmm.
test just didn't make sense.
Yeah, exactly. I was always told I was 100% Jewish. Both my parents, Ashkenazi Jews from Eastern Europe, never questioned it. The only thing that was always weird for me as an actor, they kept saying, well, you don't look Jewish, so you can't play Jewish parts. And that was just, and I had to change my last name because of that. I was not Jewish.
Mm.
I didn't look Jewish. And my whole life is like, that's so weird that, like, why doesn't anyone believe me that I'm Jewish? And I'm like, isn't my hair curly enough or whatever? Like, what does it mean to look Jewish? And that was the only thing that kind of just never sat well with me. But my parents were my parents. I was raised in a family of love and
Mm.
all of that. I identified fully with my father. I look like my father. I think like my father. And then I took this stupid DNA test, and it tells me that my father was not my father.
Yeah.
And that the crazy thing is, that's true in the movie. It said that I had a grandfather who was exactly my age, who lived a few miles from me where I grew up in Long Island.
Hmm.
So, like, there was enough truth for me to be intrigued, but enough that I was like, okay, this test is wrong. This can't be. But that's kind of true. That why would they say he's in Long Island, he's exactly my age. We reached out to the company that we used, and they said DNA doesn't lie.
Mm.
They said people lie, DNA doesn't lie. I mean, it was like, whoa. Um, and that because we shared a certain percentage of our DNA,
Hmm.
they changed it on the website to half brother instead of grandfather. And now it's like, oh my gosh, okay, so now I have a half brother who's
Yeah.
exactly my age. And that's what led me and him on this journey of insanity and self-discovery. A lot of
Amazing.
what is in the movie is true.
Yes.
A lot is fictionalized, and I'm having a lot of fun in the writing of it, but there at the core of it is a lot of truth.
Yeah,
It's
and
true.
it's incredible. And you did this 10 years ago, correct? And so
Yeah.
this was before people were sharing stories like this, like discovering
Yeah.
family history or, secrets or whatever you want to say through a DNA
Mhm.
test. I feel like now that those stories are out there and really important to
Oh my
share. But
gosh.
this was 10 years
Yes.
ago. And I see you in the movie saying, like, I must have, eaten something or spit in a test wrong or something like this just doesn't. And when did
Yeah.
you sort of realize, like, wait a minute, like this could mean that I might have a different parent? How did?
Yeah, well, because it said that it was 50%,
Yeah.
I don't remember it, at first if at first it didn't say if it was the mother or father,
Yep.
like who I was, because there was no mother or father on the site. All I knew is that it just said that I was only half Jewish.
Got it.
So that was the only thing. So it led me and my half brother to do another DNA test just to see
Hmm.
if we did the test wrong and like why it linked me and him together. And again, on this other site, half brother
Oh,
and
a
half
totally
sister.
different lab. Oh,
Yes.
interesting. Okay. All
Yeah,
right. I
so
love
that
it. You're
confirmed it.
scientific. You're like, got to make sure this is okay. And then
Oh, yeah.
when did you approach family about this? Like, when you're like, how can I make
Well,
this make sense?
yeah, I mean, my mom and I, as you will see in the movie, my mom is my best friend in the whole entire world. My mom and I, we talk on the phone 2, 3 times a day. Like,
Oh,
there's nothing that happens in my life that she doesn't know about. Like, she knows way too much. Like
yeah.
TMI, she knows everything.
Yeah.
Um, so as soon as this happened, I called her and she
Okay.
was like, "What in the world are you talking about?" Like she had no, like honestly, no idea. Like
Yeah.
her mind was blown. She's like,
Yes.
I have no idea what you're talking about,
Yes.
DNA. This is
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
Just, what are you doing? What are you
Yeah.
looking for? Your family's your family. And so it really was, it was a shock on both of our parts. My
Okay.
sister gets involved in it. She does the test. That's all true in the movie. She gets a different result. We're like, what the heck is going on? And then, in all honesty, my mom just suddenly realized that she did this medical procedure back in the day,
Hmm.
and that's what this must have been. Like it was such a different time, as I'm sure
Absolutely.
you you
Yes.
know about the technology and how doctors were back way back when, previous generations. My mother wasn't told the actual medical facts of what
Yeah.
they were doing to her.
Yep.
And there was such a veil of secrecy and shame around infertility. And she was told not to tell anyone in the family. I
Yep.
don't even think my father knew. Like, honestly,
Oh, amazing.
yeah, it was all done. So I'm just doing this medical procedure on you. Go home, have relations with your husband, and this baby will be your husband's baby.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
reflecting on that. So I've been practicing for 20 years. I've
Hmm.
really seen a dramatic change in fertility treatments and transparency and openness. And
Hmm.
so she must have done an intrauterine insemination
Hmm.
with someone else's sperm in the clinic,
Hmm.
and not
Hmm.
really been told exactly what was happening. And
Yeah.
this, unfortunately, was really common because people thought they were doing the right thing. So this
Hmm.
was it in the early 70s?
It was the early 70s for me. When my mom first did it with my sister is 6 years older, so it was the late 60s.
Yep.
So that's even like more. I mean, it's just, it was so sad to me that my mom had to go through this alone too.
Yes.
Whereas, like now, there's such a community. I mean, your podcast, like people can express themselves and what it's like to um, to go to go through infertility
Yeah.
and the pain involved in it. It was my father who was infertile. Apparently, when he was a little boy, he was of an older generation. He had the mumps
Hmm.
and it made him
Yeah,
infertile. Yeah, so
absolutely.
so just like all of that, like it was never like express what it feels like to go through the pain of that. And my mom just had to, she was told not to tell anyone, like even
Yeah,
her brother, her sister-in-law, like no one knew. And
no.
it breaks my heart for her that
Absolutely.
she,
And she
yeah.
had to find out this way too. Like there's
Oh my gosh.
many people that are impacted by this. And so, there are stories, out there and really salacious headlines about like, Richard Klein and the fertility doctors. It's, has fathered
Yes.
all of these people. And I am not excusing that at all. Transparency is so
Mhm.
important. But I will say in the 60s and 70s that truly there was such a cloud of shame around
Mhm.
infertility, and people really could maybe justify actions which we absolutely don't agree with, but in their head
Mhm.
that they were truly helping them. Like this
Yeah.
husband isn't going to feel shame, knowing that he doesn't have any sperm or has a really low sperm count. The woman isn't going to
Mhm.
feel shame because she is, conceiving with someone else's sperm. Honestly, even legally, it was
Mhm.
not accepted in the 60s and 70s. It was be considered, out of wedlock. And, there were legal
Mhm.
implications for conceiving with someone else's sperm. And I did not practice during this time, but I did hear of sometimes where samples would be mixed and they'll be like, oh, we're just going to get a sperm sample from a medical student. That was usually what it
Mhm.
was. It was someone who was just in
Mhm.
the hospital, a fresh collection. They weren't able to freeze sperm back then. And we're going to mix it with your husband's sample,
That's
and
right.
nobody
Yeah.
ever needs to know. And
Mhm.
and this was also happening before there was ever even in your imagination a DNA test that could tell you about family linkages. And so we know now that,
Mhm.
transparency and openness, whether it is adoption, donor egg, donor sperm, gestational surrogacy, all those things like should very much be open, because it now it's gonna come out. Like the truth always has a chance of coming out, but it was a really different time. And
Mhm.
you are of the generation that is really finding out, what happened in the past, even though it shouldn't happen. I can't ever, it should absolutely not happen today. But that's one of the reasons I was really fascinated by this movie and this story, because it is happening to more people, and there's a lot of people
Oh
that
my
are really going to
gosh.
resonate with this. So thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, whenever I've been doing a screening, it's so funny. After the Q&A, there's usually always a line of people that need to tell me their story. It's like
Absolutely.
either it happened to them or someone very close to them. And my movie's the first movie about this,
Hmm.
so I felt such an urgency to get this out there, but it is so common. I mean, it's more common and than I had ever imagined. And it's funny, my last screening, this woman said to me, which I had never even realized, my generation is the first generation that were these like babies of that, but we're also the first generation where these tests have come out. So it's like
Yes.
we have this double whammy of like truth coming.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but also, yeah, what you said about mixing the sperm, that's what happened with my parents. And as soon as I was born, um, when I came out, I looked exactly like my dad. I
Oh,
mean, we
yeah.
have my birth pictures, and if you put them side by side, I look exactly like my dad. So my mom just, she was like, "Oh, so I guess, my husband's sperm worked for this one."
Yes.
And so, like, there was never ever a need
Yeah.
to say, well, by the way, what I went through get you. Um, yeah, and also like now, like I have my cousin's a lesbian, and she just recently conceived through in vitro, and she had a donor book that
Mm-hmm.
she can look through and see what the donor looked like at this age, what that age, his IQ,
Mm-hmm.
his everything about him physically, his medical history. I know none of that for me.
Yeah.
I know kind of what the DNA test they give you, a little medical readout. Thankfully, there was no markers or anything, but really, like, I don't know what that side of the lineage is, which is so important now,
Yeah.
but it just wasn't even a thing. It wasn't even a
No,
thought.
no, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many reasons that we should be transparent now. I mean, for
Hmm.
emotional reasons, identity reasons, just truth, but also understanding, genetic risk for future disease development, breast
Yeah.
cancer risk and things like that. I know, I hear you. And I'm
Hmm.
curious, so please tell me how to refer to these two people because I've heard you say father, and then so that would be the person that raised you and who is your father.
Yeah.
But then sometimes people will say biodad for the sperm donor, and I'm just curious
Hmm.
what language you use and that I can
Hmm.
use out of respect.
By the way, I love that question because I am so confused at this point. I
There's no right
recently,
answer. Yeah.
oh my gosh, I recently found there's a whole community of NPEs,
And
which
share
that's
what
what
that
I
is.
am.
Share for the
It's
listeners.
non-parent expected. So I'm an NPE, but
Mhm.
there's many different type of NPEs, and like there's so many different terms. So I'm just like in my lay person, I have my father who I was raised with, and then I thought me and my half brother came up with the funny term biodad for the donor.
Yeah.
But he really is. He really, really is in my life just the donor.
Yep.
I've never met him. What I know about him is not good.
Yeah.
Like I
Oh,
don't want to know him.
yeah.
Um, it's such a crazy situation. But yeah, I guess he's just the bio dad,
Yeah.
and my
Great.
father is my father.
Great. And
Yeah.
I'm curious, I know about in the movie, but was your father, had he passed away before you found out this information?
Yes, my
Ah.
my father passed away in 1996,
Mm.
which I'm relieved that he passed away before all of this
Mhm.
explosion happened, because I don't know how he would have reacted, and maybe there would be shame and sadness, and
Mm.
I'm just so glad that he didn't have to experience this. Like, my father and I were so close. I loved him so much, and to
Mhm.
think that this would give him any pain in his life just would just kill me. And believe me, it bothers me every single day for my mom
I was
that,
curious. That was my next question is just that you uh, have shared, you're very close. You've
yeah,
shared in other interviews that the movie is a love letter to your mom. Like this is
it
so
is.
beautiful. You guys found this out together and you're healing through it together. And it could have gone
Mhm.
very differently. There could have been a lot of anger
Yeah.
or frustration or just negative feelings. And
Yeah.
so I'm just curious how you guys did heal or kind of realize this together. What was that like for you?
Yeah, well, it's been about 10 years in real
Yeah.
life. In my movie, in my movie, it's 2 weeks. But so, yeah, and my character in my movie goes through a lot of emotions in 2 weeks. It's also a comedy. So, there is definitely a suspension of belief with my movie, and it's a lot of fun. But the reality was there was a lot of shock and pain and grief and sadness and anger, and we ran the gamut. I mean, thank God I have a great therapist. My
Yeah.
mom came with me to my therapist
Great.
once to talk about it. My mom and I are so open, as I said, about everything. But yeah, we went through a lot, and thankfully, she loves this movie so much, and she loves Linda Lavin's portrayal of
Oh,
her. So my mom is very supportive of this, but there is still a part of me that feels like I'm telling her secret, but it's
Mm,
really not. What I've come to believe, my mom's proud of it. If she says if she had to do this again, she would do this again to get the family that she always wanted with my
mm,
dad, to have me and
mhm,
my brother and sister. So she's grateful for
mhm.
the procedure and for the process and the fact that I was able to make art out of it and
Yeah.
make people laugh from it. And it really is where my character comes to at the end of it, really is my mom is the hero or the heroine of the
Mhm.
movie that we all love. So yeah, so I mean, it's a lot. This movie is a lot for me. It is my coming out as an NPE. It's
Yes.
my coming out as a Jewish actress
Mhm.
because I've always been hidden. That's always
Oh.
that identity, that part of me has always been hidden my whole career. So
Mhm.
it's a lot. It's a lot, and I'm so happy that the movie's making people laugh and that it is getting out there and it's going to be opening
I
nationwide.
know.
So it's kind
October
of
3rd,
crazy.
right? October
Yes,
3rd.
yes,
Amazing.
October 3rd.
And I do
Yeah.
like that it's a comedy. I do
Yeah.
think that you can share a lot of really strong emotions and truth through comedy,
Yeah.
whereas it could have absolutely been, drama. I
Yes.
said to myself after I watched it the first time, I said it's sort of like my big fat Greek wedding, but with a bat
Hmm.
mitzvah and a lot of
Yes.
love and family at the
Yeah.
center of the story. And I'm like,
Yes.
wow, that is such an incredible way of pulling this together. And because,
Mhm.
I am a huge part of the fertility community, and there is a lot of negative feelings about doctors hiding things from patients and not being transparent. Parents hiding things from children because they were told that it's best to not share. I know that's different in your situation, but just really, really, um, I feel like we've been through a really traumatic couple of decades, and I feel like we're
Mhm.
finally, doing things the right way, but by sharing. And sometimes I even still have patients that say, oh, well, I know I need to do donor egg or I need to do donor sperm, but we're not going to tell the child. And I say, hey, I absolutely appreciate, I validate that feeling. But that's one of the reasons why everyone who comes through my clinic at PNWF in Seattle goes through a counseling session to kind of play back and forth, like, why do you feel that way?
Mhm.
And that we really just sort of say, in the day and age of DNA testing and even facial recognition, online, there are no secrets anymore. Like, and
Yeah.
so I try to
Yeah.
help people. We're going to get back to learning more from Lisa in just a minute. I wanted to pause and thank you for being here. Wherever you are listening to the show, follow the show so you don't miss our weekly interviews and information all about reproductive health. And if you have another moment, a review and a comment about what you find valuable about the show helps so much. It helps others discover the show, helps us keep going, and again, helps you not miss a valuable episode. I'm curious, what was the motivation about bringing this out and sharing this and coming out as a Jewish actress and all of those things that you just mentioned? What was the kind of the motivation, the creating of this film?
Well, it really all came together for me during the pandemic. I'm a very creative person. I need to be constantly on set or doing something. And I knew I had the story within me. And finally, pandemic happens, work stops for everyone. My daughter's being, on her Zoom homeschool. And I just said, I'm just going to write it with a lot of encouragement from my husband and my screenwriter friend. And I didn't consider myself a writer at all, but I needed to get it out. And yes, at first when I wrote it, it was very melodramatic. I was sharing a lot of the pain of just my whole life of being told I don't look Jewish and I'm not Jewish enough. That was a very big thing when I was little and I'd go on auditions. My mom would have to straighten my hair to
Mm,
get the curls out so that I would look Midwestern.
mm,
It's like, what does that even mean? Like
mhm,
to look American? And just all of these things, I think politically, all of it was bubbling up inside me, and I just like got it out. And then I realized in my life, I don't want to go to the movies to see stuff that's depressing. Like, I know a lot of actors love to play these very heavy roles, but I really like. We're at a point when I was writing it of the pandemic when things are so heavy that I'm like, I just want to bring joy and happiness. And I do believe comedy, you can say a lot more, whether it's politically or just like very serious beliefs.
Hmm.
It goes down better with comedy than than with drama. And I also realize those are the movies that I gravitate towards.
Hmm.
Those are the movies I grew up watching. Um, that's just kind of who I am as a person.
Hmm.
I love to, laugh with my daughters all day long about stuff. And so it became a comedy and I had a lot more fun writing it when it was a comedy. And then I realized I want to be on set laughing all day. I don't want I don't want to be on set like, like recalling memories from my past of, dead people,
Yeah,
just
I got it. Okay.
as an actor. So,
Oh, well,
yeah, so that's how it all came
and
together.
you did it beautifully, truly.
Thank
Um,
you.
and let's talk about identity. You talked about you were always told as soon as you were born, you looked just like your father. You're very close with your
Mhm.
father. I think I've heard you talk about characteristics that you feel like you share. And then with this DNA test, did it question things that you'd always assumed
Oh my
or make
gosh.
them honestly even feel stronger? Like some things I could imagine going both
Oh,
ways.
oh my gosh, I have so much to say on that. And when it first happened, oh my gosh, and I think I do talk about this in the movie. It was devastating. Like I felt that I lost my father again, that I had to mourn him again,
Oh,
that he just passed away again. It was awful.
oh,
And there was one specific moment in my life that I wrote in the script, but we changed it on the day in shooting, and you'll know what I'm talking about. But my daughter she was actually a baby at the time when I first found out, and I used to hold her every night before putting her in her crib, and I used to look at her face every night when I held her in my arms, and I would see my dad's face. Ah, every night. And just how
mhm.
proud he would have been. I'm gonna like start getting emotional.
Yeah.
And then when I was told this about myself, that night I'm holding her, and it was like her face disappeared.
Oh,
And like everything that I thought was passed from me to her was not true from him. It was just the saddest feeling in the world. And there's a scene where I have with my daughter where I'm putting her to bed. But we changed it a little where she just says, hold my hand until I fall asleep. Because I used to do that with my dad. He used to
mhm.
hold my hand until I fell asleep. Um, but it was that connection that just like, oh, that killed me. But anyway, so I can't remember the last part of the
No, it's so
question, but
amazing.
that's
And so you felt that fall away, but I'm curious if
yes.
there's other things that you feel even stronger, even more connected to your
Yeah,
father.
yes,
That
what
whole nature versus nurture. Like it's okay that we don't have the
exactly.
same genes because I've learned, this character trait from him or
That's 100% that always comes up during the Q&A. We always end up talking about nature versus nurture because a lot of people who were adopted, who have adopted children, just because you don't share DNA with them doesn't mean that they're not really your children. 100% they are. So that made me change just, my facial expressions.
Mhm.
I know a lot of my facial expressions are from my father, and it does change your face when you have the same facial expressions. And I'm sure that my baby, when I was looking at her and she had that smile in her sleep, I know she got that from me, and I know I got that from him,
Oh,
whether
that's
it's
beautiful.
DNA or not. I know I got that from him, and just his way of thinking, and just, you know, there's a funny thing in the movie where I talk about my knees, which is a very true thing. Like I I do have fat knees. I do. Um, and I saw this picture of me and my dad, and we both have the same exact legs. But you know what? My dad instilled in me body positivity. He did. Like when I would come to him and say, you know, they said I was too fat for this role because that would happen a lot when I was a teenager. He'd say, well, if they wanted a stick, they can go in the woods. You're
Oh,
not a stick.
I like that. That's
I
great.
know. And
Yeah.
he just always made me feel good about myself. So maybe I don't actually share the genetics of my knees with him, but he actually made me feel good about my knees in a different way.
That is
You know, it's
beautiful.
so interesting, nature versus nurture.
Yeah. And you're,
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's
got it.
nature and nurture.
Mhm.
Like maybe it's a combination. Maybe it's just interesting. It's just interesting, the conversation.
Well, I hope that a lot of people that are listening right now are hearing this who might be considering using donor egg or donor sperm or a gestational carrier, because I do talk to my patients about they're very nervous or anxious about not connecting with the child because it wasn't their egg or their sperm. And so I hope that they're hearing this really positive connection that you've had with this person, your father, even though you didn't share
Mhm.
DNA. I think that that's really beautiful. And I think that
Mhm.
people who are in your situation or are even nervous about, building a family in this way, this day and
Mhm.
age, could be comforted by what you said.
Oh, absolutely. Oh my gosh. I mean, I think one of the main themes of my movie is that family is love. Like that's really all it is. And like when you really embrace that, no matter how a family comes together, if you have love, that's all you need. And that's really all there is. I mean,
Beautiful.
gosh, yeah, whether I thankfully had my two daughters, you know, in my body with my egg and my husband's sperm, but if they weren't, oh my gosh, I would love them just the same. I'm
Yeah.
obsessed with them. They're mine.
It's beautiful.
However they got into this
Yeah.
world.
Yeah, I hear
Yeah.
you. I'm
Hmm.
curious about faith.
Hmm.
Feeling very strong and connected to the Jewish faith, but then finding out the DNA is half Christian, half Jewish. And I mean, you tie it in
Yeah.
so beautifully in the movie because in the movie, your daughter is getting ready for her bat mitzvah and all of this is coming
Mhm.
together. And could you, reflect on that a little bit?
Yeah, it's also it's so interesting because I've spoken to a lot of people who are converting to Judaism, and it doesn't make them less Jewish not being born Jewish or not having DNA Jewish. I really believe your religion is also in your heart.
Mm.
If you want to be something, then you know there's a conversion process you go through, and if you want to do it, that's amazing. You are really Jewish. I really believe that. Um, yeah, it's interesting because it I didn't never consider Judaism in like an a group that would be defined by DNA, but apparently it is.
Mhm.
And so I am that, and I'm also Jewish by faith. It's like it's so interesting. But again, it comes down to love, like what
Mhm.
you love and how you identify. I believe I'm so all inclusive of everything and every identity, every religion, every gender, whatever. It's all
Yeah.
comes down to how you feel about yourself.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's why in the movie I make it about the bat mitzvah because I wanted this woman to be so fully identified as a Jewish woman that's like, oh yeah, by the way, you're not.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
And I mean, it's
So
kind of
yeah.
nature versus nurture, faith versus,
Hmm.
religion, and what really
Yeah.
matters is love and what's in your heart. And it just comes through
Yeah.
really very clearly. I
Yeah.
think a really beautiful part about this film is Linda Lavin you shared, and She,
Oh my
just for anyone
gosh.
that's listening, incredibly famous actress who in the 60s and 70s started off on Rhoda, and then she was Alice in that incredibly
Yes.
successful TV show. And this was her last film, which is,
Yes.
oh my goodness. How did she come to the project?
Oh
How
my
was it
gosh.
interacting with her?
Yeah, well, it's so funny. She came to me through Instagram.
Oh,
Like, that is this modern crazy world we're living in. Instagram suggested I follow her. So I did. I'm like, oh, I've always loved her. I think she's a great actress. I'm writing this movie about a Jewish mother. I knew she was Jewish in real life. I started following her and I'm like, oh my God, this woman's incredible. To She's in her 80s, touring the world doing her jazz performances with her husband. They were like every weekend, they're in Mexico, they're in Costa Rica. I'm like, oh my, this woman's incredible. She has more energy than me. If anyone is going to be my mother, this is her, because my mother in the movie is a very big, dynamic personality.
yeah.
And so, then now I'm writing it and I'm writing it with her in mind.
Yes.
And then I'm thinking she has to be the one to play this. But now it comes to casting. I'm like, okay, how do I go about this? What if I just send it to her agent and they just reject me? And so I'm like, okay. I wrote her a letter, a handwritten letter. I sent it with the script to her agent with the praying that it will actually get to her. It got right to her. She read it. She wanted a Zoom with me the next day,
Oh,
get on the Zoom, and she's like, I'm your mother. That's it. Like instantaneous. She even,
fantastic.
yeah, she was so cute. She came on the Zoom. Well, she had just gotten out of the shower and her hair was wet. She's like, look, I have natural curls too. She's like, we're meant to
Wow.
be.
Yeah.
And it was instant, instant, instant.
Oh my gosh. Well,
Just,
the chemistry of you guys on the film is just incredible. And she
yeah.
is so funny. And she
Oh my
has that
God.
little kind of sexiness, like that little attraction with someone
Amazing.
on the film. I'll
Hmm.
leave that for a teaser. And you're just like, I just
Yes.
love this person and this human. And again, it's a real
Yes.
reflection of, I think, the love for your mother, your in
A
real life.
100%. But yeah, I like to tell people when I wrote this movie, I wrote it as a love letter to my mother. And I think I even wrote that in the letter to Linda, that
Mm.
this movie is a love letter to my mother. But with her passing away right before the release of it, it's become a love letter to Linda.
Oh,
It really, really is. It's such a celebration of her and her humor and her dramatic chops too. Oh my God. There's a moment in the movie that like she kills me.
oh,
And to look at her when she was actually saying certain words to me. Oh my goodness. I'll leave that to the viewer.
very
But
powerful.
she's just, oh my God. And then to be celebrating with her at the end of the movie and dancing the hora. Oh God, how things have changed. Like from what it started as to what it is now. I wish she was around to reap all of this love she's getting. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah.
But I feel like she's here. She has to be.
I was going to say the same thing. I think that's really beautiful. I think she is
Yeah,
enjoying it. I do.
I hope
Um,
so.
I'm curious, how old are your daughters?
Well,
Just in
now,
general, like now.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, now my older daughter's 19. I know I look too young to have 19.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
I'm so kidding. I'm so old enough to have a 19-year-old.
Oh,
And a 13-year-old.
okay.
And my 13-year-old just had her bat mitzvah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yes.
And I was just curious generationally,
Hmm.
how your teenage daughters take this information, the themes in the movie, our generation,
Yeah.
'cause I'm picking up, I think we're very similar in age, and then your
Mhm.
mom. So you have this three generations of women
Mhm.
coming together with like themes of family and DNA and like what was known, nature versus nurture. Just curious if you're
Yes.
seeing your daughters. Uh, I I have teenage, I have a daughter very similar and a younger son. And
Mhm.
I think they'd be kind of like, oh, that's cool, whatever. Because they grew up in
Eh,
the time of DNA tests.
yeah.
I was just curious if you're seeing that in your family.
100%. Oh my gosh, my daughters are way beyond me. Well, first of all, my little one, I mean, my older one, I think she was about 6 or 7 when I found out. So she knew, she saw what I went through. And my little one was a baby at the time.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, for them, they're just they've grown up in a different time. They're open and they're accepting
Hmm.
of everyone, and I just love it. Like the things that for my generation we're still trying to wrap our heads around, they're like, what's your problem? Like that's just the world. That's the way this person identifies. This is how they got conceived. Like who cares?
Yeah.
Like it's such a different world. And it's funny, a woman, a friend of mine, her son, she's in a lesbian couple, and her son was conceived by a donor. And she was inspired by my movie to do 23andMe. Okay, I'll give him a shout out to find to find his siblings.
Oh,
And she was like, how did how would you feel if your mother had found your siblings when you were younger? And I'm like, I would have loved it.
yeah.
It's just I feel like it's just part of my story. It's not who I am. It's just part of my story. And I believe, and I try to exemplify in this movie, the more family, the better.
Yeah.
It's like the more people you just kind of have on your team in
Yeah.
life, just to be on this wild journey.
Mhm.
The ones who are there for you, the ones who support you, believe me, there is a lot of half siblings I have now that don't want to have anything to do with me. There's that too.
Mhm.
Some of the bio dads, like his real, I put that in quotes, his real, because I don't know what to call them, his
Yeah.
real children, they're in denial that their father ever donated
Mhm.
sperm back in the day. So
Yeah.
they just don't want to be part of this. And that's fine
Yeah.
too. But then his other real children, they're some of my closest friends now. So
Oh.
it's just kind of I believe it the whole thing, it's what you make of it.
Mhm.
I don't have shame around it. It's just part of my story. I'm proud of it. I'm proud of it. I identify more with the family I was raised with. My half siblings, they're just part of this crazy journey. It's just so interesting. But
Yeah.
yeah, my children, they're just like this, they know this about me. They're like, can we do the test to see who like what is our genetics? I'm like, I don't know, but it's fine.
Yeah. Incredible. And again,
Yeah.
we just keep coming back to it, but it's so true that family is love. And this
Hmm.
really seems like such an incredible journey for you, self-reflection, creating this film, the connections that you've made. And I really, really want to thank you for just putting your own story out there, because I
Mm,
truly feel it's going to help a lot of people. And please
I hope
tell
so.
us how we can find you, find the film. Where can we see
Yes.
it the first week of October?
Yes. So if you go to our website, onebighappyfamily.com, it has all the theater listings. They're AMC theaters nationwide. You can follow us on Instagram, One Big Happy Family Movie. I'm the Lisa Brenner. I don't know why I chose that name, but I did. It's a weird name. But yeah, that's how you can
That's
find
great.
us. We open October 3rd. There might be a sneak peek on October 2nd.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure a lot of theaters are doing that. Um, so yeah, so
Oh,
next week.
fantastic. Well,
And
I will be sure and put
yes,
all the links in the description so that the
thank
listeners
you.
can find you easily and see this incredible film. Thank you so much for being
Thank you
here.
so, and thank you. And thank you to all the listeners. And I wish you all luck on your journey. I hope lots of babies, lots and lots of babies.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow. I hope you enjoyed that discussion as much as I did. Thank you so much to Lisa Brenner for sharing not only her creative process, but such a deeply personal journey with us. Her story reminds us that family, identity, and faith can be more complex than we ever imagined. And those complexities can bring new connection and the ultimate reminder, family is love. If you enjoyed this episode of the Brave and Curious podcast, remember to follow us wherever you're listening. Give us a 5-star review and comment with other people you'd love us to interview or topics you'd like us to cover. We're always learning and we want to make this show incredible for you. Thank you again for being here. Thank you so much for my team at Audiotocracy for producing another wonderful episode. And until next week, stay brave and curious.